start. You just maniacally start with the with the thing.
What do you think?
Oh, Christian, check your mic real fast.
Okay, let's do that.
Check it where you want it and stuff. All right.
How's it sound?
God, your voice is so much.
Is this close enough?
You can scoot up a little bit if you want.
I don't know if I want to, but...
Say something else.
Is this close enough?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, cool.
We are good to go.
Alright, so just heads up. Dan wants to introduce his business partner. So after you do his intro, just be like, tell us a little about your business.
Okay.
That way you can introduce his business partner.
Okay, no problem. You guys ready?
Yep.
Just gonna let it rock.
Alright.
And I got it recorded. Well, good morning. Welcome to the Business Legends podcast, where we interview business owners and entrepreneurs so that you can learn from their mistakes, pump up your own inspiration, and grow your own bottom line. Today I have my co-host, Christian Webb, CEO of Business Marketing Solutions Group. Say what's up. Say what's up.
What's up?
Thank you. And we have a very
That
special...
wasn't good enough. What's up? Okay, we're good.
All right, perfect. We're also here with a good friend of ours, Dan Mills. Dan has spent his working career in the construction service business. For close to 40 years, he's been involved in all facets of managing and developing project plans and businesses in the sector. More recently, he's been a partner at Accent Comfort Services, LLC, a full-service heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical service in Charlotte, North Carolina. Accent provides service, repair, maintenance, and equipment changeouts for the residential and light commercial customers. Dan and his wife of 37 years, Julie, have lived in the Charlotte area for the past 16 years. Dan, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you.
Yeah,
Good to be here.
you as well. Tell us a little about your business, man.
Well, we began the business in 2006 from zero, like many entrepreneurs do, and we had a good model which was based upon basically providing good service to people at a fair price. And my business partner and I, Frank Celeste, started the business on a Excel spreadsheet with 150 bullet items that had to be accomplished to get it started from zero.
That's amazing, man. So the other thing, 37 years married. What's your secret to that?
Listen to your wife.
Listen
Always do the right thing.
Don't let my wife hear you say that.
Yeah.
Well, you're in year one, so.
Yeah.
I still get away with some stuff.
Actually, to be honest, I made a very good choice, and Julie's very supportive of our business.
Amazing.
And if you are married or thinking about it, and you are an entrepreneur, you should give some serious consideration to that and make sure she's on board with what you're trying to do, because
Yeah, no doubt.
It creates a lot of problems.
Happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah, perfect.
So how did you and your business partner meet?
We actually met at another company, and we decided that wasn't what we wanted to do, and we began to talk about it, and we thought that we would entertain another business structure where we were the owners of the business and create it with the culture that we wanted.
That's interesting. There's that's a big step in an entrepreneur's life where like they're an employee, they're learning a trade, and all of a sudden they get that vibe where they don't really want to either A, work for someone else, or they want to build their own setup. What was that motivation for you?
I think it was Christmas time, and Frank and I were working together at the firm, and we just decided that it just wasn't the culture and the basic ideals and values that we had, and we thought we could replicate a better service model for our customers, and that's what we set out to do, and that was in 2004.
Wow. Whenever I talk to you, Dan, that's something that I just always love hearing about you. Is, whenever we're talking about anything, whether it's business related or personal related, it's something where you always say it's always customer service. That's the very first thing that you always mention. Is
right.
We have this customer, and in order to provide the best value for them, and you're a very customer-centric person, and that's something that I've always admired about you, to tell you the truth. So how did you get into all these different fields at the same time? So heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. I know it's all construction, but did you just start out of the gate, or did you start with one?
Well, we started out, most of them are service related. My personal professional background has been in the construction field, but we started out as a heating and cooling service provider when we set forth in 2004 and 5. And we began to find that, as with many businesses, there are peaks and valleys in the revenue streams and the seasonality of any business.
Right.
And so we decided that we needed to level out the highs and the lows by introducing some other services and cross-train employees so that we'd be able to maximize the productive hours that they have in the field, so that it's beneficial to us and it's productive for us and our customers.
Wow. So every employee is trained to do multiple jobs.
Correct.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so we may send if we have a light plumbing repair or service call, we may have a technician that goes out that is qualified in both to do a HVAC and a plumbing call, because obviously it's better for the customer, it's less expensive, and they're able to handle the service calls with one visit to the home, which is less interruptive, and everybody's on the go these days, so we have to try and bear that in mind.
So a piece of contracting, or actually a piece of any business, especially over an extended amount of time since you've been successful, how many years now?
Well, for me in business, it's been almost 40 years.
40, wow. So over 40 years, there's so many evolutions in business. For example, like in marketing, at our business, every single year, every single 6-month period, a new software comes out, a new
Right.
thing's happening. Like when you ran into those things, probably 1,000 times by now.
Right.
Like, how do you make those choices, whether to evolve with it or to stay with what you had in the past? Like, where's y'all's mindset with that?
Well, there's always a newer, better, shinier object that you have to consider, and it happens on a monthly, weekly basis. And so what we've done is to, when everyone else runs down the hill, we're kind of like the old bulls. We walk down the hill and make sure that we're going and targeting.
That's a great metaphor.
Yeah, right. We're walking downhill. But so I think that with technology as it evolves, you have to be aware of it, but you kind of have to let it settle in a little bit before you jump into it on a 100% scale for your business. So it has to be scalable for your company.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be the right fit. But moreover, the best recommendation that I would give to people that are considering changes to their business to automate or to look at a different software, a different system or process, is talk to people that have done it before, so you learn what the good and the bad are, and also listen to what they're telling you about that specific product, because you may find out that it doesn't perform in the same niche that you need it to perform to for your business.
Or it might fizzle out.
Well, it could. You want to make sure it's from a reputable company that's going to do the job right and be there as a long-term partner for you.
Can you think of any specific technology increases that have happened in your industry in the last 15 years that have really benefited your business?
I think that the scheduling softwares and the client relationship management programs are wonderful.
And social media marketing's been fantastic.
That goes without saying, but now that you brought it up, you have to be in the mind's eye of the general public and your potential customers, and a great way to do it is through the work that we've done with you folks at your company. You've done a wonderful job for us, and we can see the increases in contacts and opportunities for our business to sell things.
Well, thank you.
But to go back to that, some of the major things I think that have changed are the ability to schedule calls and pinpoint where technicians are. And we all live in Charlotte, and we're hoping that things are going to get better on the highways, but if I schedule a call for you in the Lake Norman area, and we're driving up from Harris Boulevard on 77, that can take 20 minutes or an hour and a half or longer. So we have a contact system that we follow up and call customers when we're on the way, and we're hoping that the Department of Transportation in the city works with us to help our service look better, because we
It's
can
a
get
rough
to your
thing.
home. Yeah, we can get to your home faster.
That's incredible. One of the things that just listening to you even, I don't even know if you heard it yourself, but you said get to the customer quicker, provide the customer with a better service. It's always about the customers. It's just something I love hearing. One thing in your industry particularly is there's a lot of bad rap in your industry, because a lot of people come out and change out the Freon even though the air conditioning unit is 55 years old or whatever and leaking, and then
Right.
wasting the customer's money and stuff. So I think it's amazing that you take the time to think about the customer, and even when you're talking about scheduling software, as you said get to the customer better and quicker and more efficiently, and being upfront with them. I want to shift gears a little bit. What would you say one of the biggest lessons that you've learned in your industry particularly is?
Well, like in many businesses, we have 30 team members in the company, and people make the difference in the business. So you have to hire, train, and retain the best people that you can. That's the basis, the building block of your organization. And I think from there, it's really delivering on what you say you're going to do. And everything isn't perfect in our business because they're mechanical devices, and one day it can work and the next day it can fail. And it's almost like auto repair sometimes when you go in and you go in for one item and then another item that's related to that fails. They're related, but they're separate repairs. And I think educating a customer on that and having credibility while doing it is a thing that we have to excel at. But
yeah. So you said something there I feel like needs a little bit of a deeper touch on. So you said hiring and retaining. So a lot of young entrepreneurs or anybody who's listening to this wanting to learn a little bit about how to run a business. What are your interview steps? Like, what makes sense? What does Accent Comfort Services started doing to make sure that they almost always get that part right?
Well, we do continuously look for talented people through different mediums that are available to us.
Okay.
And we specify what the job description or goals are for a potential candidate, and then if they reach out to us, we do a phone interview first. There might be an email step in between there, and then we would ask them to come in and meet with us face to face to see if they have the presence that we want to present to our customers.
Nice.
Is there anything that you look for specifically when you take that interview in person? I mean, are you looking? I don't know if you look for eye contact or confidence or the way that they speak, or if they can joke around or anything like that, or if it's just a feeling.
Everybody's different, and that goes
Sure.
that goes a long way. But they're all, a lot of times, a great technician might not be the best communicator, and we have to work on that. They may be a superstar when it comes to diagnosing, troubleshooting, looking up things that are diagrammatical in nature. But being a good communicator and trying to instill confidence in the customer is what's important. Charm school is a whole different thing, but
Yeah.
it's necessary because when someone comes to your home, they're a guest, and they have to tell you what they're going to do. And if they find something that needs attention, they have to explain it to you in a way that you can understand it, not be condescending, but get the facts over to you in a way you can understand it, because it's not easy to understand sometimes, and then instill confidence with you.
Yeah, I'm a perfect example of that. I got all this charm, but I couldn't even unscrew the panel off an AC.
He's humble too. Can you tell?
It's a gift,
I know it's hard.
Goodness gracious, that's incredible, man. Do you do anything specifically for maybe continuing education, learning about new units and stuff like that for your customers, or not your customers? I mean your technicians and charm school type stuff.
Well, yeah, we matter of fact, today's the day of the week where we bring all of our field technicians and installers in and discuss issues of the day. And incumbent in that meeting is to have dialogue about changes in the industry, changes in equipment, technology issues, issues that have popped up that are less than desirable and may require a recall or spend a little more time on a job than is needed because they're not aware of a situation that has to be attended to. But yeah, we do that on a continuous basis. And I want to go back. You had asked a question about what are the main things or what are some of the things that are important that you kind of get beat up on if you aren't aware of them. And I would advise any young entrepreneur, the biggest risk you have is assuming risk unknowingly because you don't consult in somebody that could easily help you avoid it with either the way your company structure is set up, whether it's an LLC, a partnership, a corporation, making sure you get the accounting side of things set up properly at the beginning so you don't have problems. And then if you have employees, I'm just going to say this, if you have employees and you don't have a separate entity do your payroll and withholding, you're making a huge mistake which will eventually catch you and you'll pay a premium penalty for that. So not to scare anybody, but it's an easy process to get a tax advisor or a payroll administrator to help you with those things, because those are critical elements to making sure you're in compliance with the laws that are required by
And if I'm not mistaken, for the small businesses out there right now, there's even options where it's like $99 or $199 a month, where you literally you can literally just sign up monthly, and they'll like take care of all your payroll services and slide all that and put all that stuff in place for you.
Correct, and it's inexpensive. And if you think about all the different obstacles you have to cover in in terms of payroll, withholding, state, federal, Social Security, Medicare, and then all the city taxes that are involved. It's overwhelming for someone that is in the marketing genre, and that's your specialty. Now you're a payroll administrator, and those two things are not in your lane, and you need to stay in your lane. Or if you can't do it, and I'm advising not to, hire an expert to do it for you.
So often, so many people do that too. You know, as for example, you're in the heating, cooling, electrical, plumbing industry, and you know, I would rather you focus on things to grow your business, make your business better, focus on your customer service. And you know, you're not an accountant, so it's like,
Right.
why do people take it upon themselves to do their own thing and do their own stuff that they're not special with? So tell me about this, and maybe this is a little bit of a personalized question, but what's your relationship like with your business partner? I mean, you guys have been at it now for 15 years. What's your secret with that? I mean, that's your marriage away from home, right?
Correct, and we probably spend, well, I know we do, we spend more time together day to day than I do with my wife.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, right, as you look at each other, right? But, you know, Frank and I have a great relationship. We disagree on things on a routine basis, but the one thing that we learned from an attorney that set up our business, which we hold to heart and holds true today, and was said 15 years ago, was every decision you make has to be in the long-term best interest of the business. So take what you want and what you want as my business partner out of it, and what is the best thing for the business. And if you use that unemotionally as your guide, you'll always come to the right decision from a business standpoint. So that, and just, you know, people are human beings, and we all have better days than others, as you guys have in your business.
Absolutely.
And your friends, and you sense that, and when a partner is down, or a friend or an employee is down, or it's your job, it's your obligation to kind of lift them up and tell them there's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a locomotive coming at you. That's your job.
What would you say your secret is for dividing and conquering some of the workload? I mean, there's certain things that I'm sure you and Frank both excel at. You know, maybe one's better at certain things and one's better at other things or whatever. But you know, what's your secret to dividing and conquering the workload?
Well, I think that's a good salient point. You have to know what your expertise is, but you also have to have a kind of a minor in the other things that the other partner does, not because you want to step over them or on them. It needs to be clearly defined what your role is and what you're going to control, manage, and lead. But on the other hand, you have to define what your partner does and then be well versed in it, so that if they're not around for vacation or illness or some other reason, that you can step in and kind of do it the way that they want it done and what's best for the business. So outlining those procedures and the way things need to be done are very important to the success long-term of the business.
So I want to talk on one of my favorite quotes is and actually I don't know where this originated from. Just somebody smarter and wiser than I.
That's not difficult.
Yeah, I know, right? It was, and the quote goes something like, "Never get caught working in your business. Get caught working on it."
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
It's probably the most difficult thing for entrepreneurs and business owners to do, because there's always something that needs to be done, and there's a way that you like to do things as a business owner, and it's very difficult to delegate those things, but it is necessary for your quality of life and the success of the business. And so dealing with that, you have to be willing to let go sometimes, and even though you document it the way you want it done, you know, innovation and improvement, a continuous improvement on a procedure, maybe somebody else has a better way to do it than you thought of, and you just gotta let them have a chance to do it. But it's hard to let go, so that's a good point, and I think it's something where you can have a business coach come in, or someone that's done what you're trying to accomplish, or if you're trying to add a service or product to your line, ask someone that's done it before, so you can learn what the pitfalls are, and it costs you next to nothing to ask somebody for help. Most people in business are willing to spend time with people to help them avoid failure. It just is the way it is, and find good mentors for your area of service or expertise, so that other people can help you.
It may be an ego thing, but I find that I get caught in this rat trap of thinking that I can do a better job than somebody else, you know,
Right.
just because maybe I'm more invested in it.
If you've met Reese, then you obviously know it's ego.
Well, you also probably know that I'm right. You know, it's letting go, doing a better job, you know, instructing others to do a better job, not being cynical, believing they'll do the right thing, believing they'll make the right progress, make the right choices, make the right decisions and things like that. Employee management's tough, and especially with you in a company where you have 30 people that at any given time, you know, you're tracking where they're going and what they're doing, this type of stuff. I mean, it's especially difficult. Tell me a little bit about your industry. What do you think is exciting about your industry? What you know, where do you see your industry going? I know that there was a huge shift towards zone control in homes lately with air conditioning. Is there anything like that happening in the rest of it?
Well, I think technology development and remote monitoring of homes and the systems, because it seems that with younger people coming up, they're out of the home more than they're in the home, and they want to have access to certain things for different reasons. Either they're traveling or, but there's an availability of technology for detecting leaks in plumbing to prevent damage. There's an availability to remotely on your phone, which to set your air conditioner and humidity levels for comfort. There are so many things that are available. It's really mind-boggling and overwhelming. The issue is managing that with initial installations or retrofits, such that the customers are aware of it and they want that service. There are systems that can put our name and number as Accent Comfort Services for a service call when the unit has run or the last service period has occurred, or if a filter needs to change, or some of the equipment is so sophisticated it has diagnostics built into it that if it isn't running right, it'll pop up on your thermostat if you have the right type.
Wow.
And tell you, hey, call Accent because you need service because there's something not working right in your system.
Wow.
And it prevents a major catastrophe or failure or emergency call.
Yeah, we know a guy named Rob, you may know him as well, Rob. He his business.
Rob Higgins.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
his,
Rob, yeah.
Yeah, his office had a flooding issue that was
Right.
there was a you know, a relation from like a toilet. I mean, how nice would it have been if he would have been able to detect that, you know, so far ahead and not had the same restoration
Right.
issues, you know.
I think as time goes by and these technologies are proven, a lot of the insurance companies, the insurance board drives what the contractors have to do in their individual states or
Right.
area of operation. So as they see risk or loss, hopefully not of life, but of property and the damage costs associated with that, and they see technology that's available, they'll begin incorporating that into the building code and the service standards required by business people like ourselves to help offset cost and damage and disruption for people. So it's coming, it's just going to take time to prove itself, but there's so many opportunities for technological advancement, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, actually, I want to talk about something that you may or may not have thought about yet. And if you haven't thought about it, tell us like what you think about it and how you might overcome it. And if you have thought about it, tell us what you've already spoken about. Voice SEO. When it comes to people are now searching almost like it's like 30% are doing voice searches on their like Google Homes and their Alexa and their phones. And then soon they've already showed the technology where people can set appointments without even calling you. Like an AI will call you and set the appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have y'all started thinking about that? Because 2021, 2020, we're going to be looking at that evolving into a more serious role.
That's the leading edge technology, not necessarily with Alexa and others that are home-centered voice control platforms. So my answer to you honestly is we're not there yet.
Mm-hmm. That old bull answer?
The old bull walking down the hill.
That's right. Yeah, a little bit. But on the other hand, it does. I just think that it's wonderful that these things are available. Mm-hmm. And as a person that's been around and remembered what was going on many decades ago, I am a little concerned over how the information is collected and monitored, and the security of that.
That's fair.
I find it I find it a bit invasive that if you go on the internet and look up a vehicle, for example, things start popping up. I mean, it's great the technology's there, but it makes me wonder who's watching, who's listening to the things that you discuss in private and how it's protected. I think Europe's ahead of us on that with some of the controls that they have, but we need to be mindful of that. It's good and it's fast and it's neat, but it may not be the best thing long term. We're gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of crazy. It's like a double-edged sword because all that information makes it super consumer friendly. Like it's all about the consumer, but at the same time, like they're able to like mechanically or automate in an automated fashion stock shelves at grocery stores because they know they know the like what you buy, when you buy it, how you buy it, and what aisle you buy it on.
Right.
So they literally organize it all for you. There's stores doing that now.
Well, think about the difference in when you were growing up to now, and how you purchase groceries. If you wanted to, you know, it used to be a trip to the store. Now you can go online, pick what you want. It's there. You make the transaction. They bring it out for you. It's just convenience. It's a convenience mentality, and time is of the essence now. It costs a little bit more, so you have to offset your costs with the time benefit and make that decision. But it's an interesting time in technology that will emerge over the next few years.
It's hard to keep up with too. It's one of those things where, you know, I was just thinking about what Christian was saying, how you know, grocery stores are able to basically detect, like, have you ever noticed that your favorite bottle of water is for sale on the exact day that you happen to go into the grocery store? A lot of times it has a lot to do with, you know, just based on your customer profile and what day of the week that you shop on, type of thing. So what would you say in, you know, the course of your almost 15 years now in Accent, what would you say was one of your biggest hurdles to jump over?
I think getting the business up and running was a major accomplishment.
Yeah.
For nothing. And then as it goes along, it really is just continue to retain and keep good people of like-minded goals.
People first.
Yeah, people first. And then I think along with that, as your business changes, you have to adapt. And so as you adapt and change your business, you have to be able to fill it in with equal or better services and eliminate those that maybe aren't the right niche for your company and the goals that you have.
It's an incredible mindset to have, you know, being pliable enough to accept that change is around the corner and you know that you have to implement these things. You have to continue to nurture your staff. You have to continue to communicate with Frank and you know, go on and tell him about maybe sometimes giving him a little bit of tough love and tell him that that's the direction you got to go with the long term in mind, type of thing.
Yeah, it goes both ways. I mean,
oh yeah,
I get it too.
for sure.
The other thing is we're a family business.
Yeah.
And we, you know, we're a family-oriented business, and there's a lot more good than bad that goes with that. And I think the important thing is that's the way we look at people when we bring them in. We bring them in as team members. We bring them in as family members. And if they do the right thing, if they have a job, as long as we're around. And,
Yeah.
I think that's a lot different from what many people experience in the business culture that's available to them today.
Absolutely. So let me shift gears one last time here for you. What would you say makes you feel inspired? You know, what kind of, you know, we get caught in the day-to-day grind. You know, every day maybe you're repairing this air conditioning unit or that plumbing leak or something like that. What inspires you to do the best job on the next day?
I think that when you can work with a client that either has a problem or maybe hasn't been treated properly before by a company or an individual, and you can explain to them and overcome and consult with them about what the options are, and you lead them to make the best decision for their family and their situation, for a repair or replacement. I think that's really rewarding and exciting because you take a person that just trusts heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical companies, or kind of the auto repair situation, not to beat those guys up because they work hard too. But if they've had a bad experience, they need to kind of be brought back to where, hey, I can trust somebody that is going to tell me the truth. And you know, we rarely try to sell anybody anything. We just present consultatively what the options are and tell them why, and give them the financial analysis and the liability issues they may have, and then let them make the decision. So that's very rewarding to everybody in our company.
Yeah, that's an amazing mindset. Do you have a preference between just the different workloads? Do you have a preference between heating or cooling or electrical or plumbing?
Not really. Each of them have their own little challenges.
I imagine, yeah.
Plumbing is a more straight line or non-seasonal based business.
Right.
And that was intentional and to kind of help us with the seasonality of heating and cooling. The summer load is obviously much heavier than the heating load in the business. And electrical is pretty steady as well. So you have two steadies and a fluctuation with the kind of the main source of the business.
Yeah.
And as the more you can grow the internal too with plumbing and electrical, the more level your income and predictable your outcomes will be for your business.
Yeah. Speaking of seasonality, have you ever taken a heating call in the summer or a cooling call in the winter?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. What's that like? I mean,
well, because it's kind of.
Oh, this toolkit, I got to bring that.
Well, most of the time you have what you need in your toolkit or the van, but I think what people forget is even though it's a cooling call in the summer, it's kind of like an engine and transmission in a car.
Yeah, they work together.
The air conditioning is the engine, the transmission is the furnace or the air handler, and you need both of them working together to produce air conditioning. So
right.
If there's an issue with the furnace or air handler, you wouldn't think that that's something that has to be addressed, but it does because the blower, the controls, and the components are inside of that's up in the attic or a crawl space or basement, and you just don't think about it, but it needs to be addressed. So,
yeah, like we never would have thought of that ever, I promise. Like,
I'm sure you would have at some point when you didn't have air conditioning.
Well, that part, yeah,
right?
that's what I'm calling you. I mean,
I literally live at 68 and sleep at 66, so if I don't have AC, it's a nightmare for me. I can't stand it.
And the other thing is when those, it's, what is it, 90, gonna be 90 something again today?
I'm sure, yeah.
This has been one of the hottest July, it was past month, it was one of the hottest Julys on record, but people in the wintertime are more patient because they either have multiple systems where they can kind of get by without heat.
Yeah.
But when it's 90 some degrees out and you got one system in your home and you lose that, patience is pretty low and we have to react, and we get the short end of the stick on that because it failed, now we need a solution, and people have to understand, we try to do the best we can to get to them during peak times so that they're comfortable.
Yeah, the scheduling, I imagine that's probably one of the most difficult pieces. I mean,
right. You talk about entrepreneurs and, it could be someone that does window washing for a living all over the area, somebody that does appliance repair or things like that. But what we've done, when you were talking about young entrepreneurs and things to think about, is I worked through B&I, which is a great group, and we're in that together.
You are a master referrer, by the way. If you know anybody that needs anything, just talk to Dan. He's like, oh, I got a guy for that. It's incredible.
It happens a lot, but so what we were talking about is he says, well, I'm running from Charlotte to Lake Norman to Cornelius to Denver, and I said, okay, you're not going to make money making a star shape running service calls. I said, you need to set up your territory by zip code and then code each of those zip. And actually, I'm not taking credit for it. Frank, my business partner, set this up. But the purpose of this was to say, if you do a cluster of zip codes and you zone them, then you can focus your service on a day when you know you have to be there to do work, to do service calls or maintenance or whatever in that zone, and you're not crisscrossing yourself and losing productive time. And that's just a logic way to look at it in a system or procedure. But there are, as you talked about before, there are computer programs and software that assist you with that. But thinking about how are you going to get a job done and putting it into functions or tasks that are able to be accomplished in an efficient way is going to make you more productive.
Yeah, something that sounds that small probably had a huge revenue impact.
Right. The gentleman that I know that I talked to about it was a window washer, and he said, Dan, I can't believe how simple that was, but how it assisted me. And I actually gave him one of our breakdowns of zones that Frank had developed so that he could use it to help his business, and it was immediate impact for him. It's something that's simple, but it wouldn't be obvious to you maybe. You're worried about how am I going to get from here to here with traffic. Maybe you don't go there on that day. You only go there on Wednesdays, and people will be a little bit patient about it.
That's an incredible shift. Sometimes the simplest things that make the biggest differences. All right, Dan, I got one last question here for you. Would you rather be smart or funny, and why?
not evident by the excitement this morning that you guys are creating here, but I think funny is a great skill set to have.
Yeah.
Because those that can make light of bad situations in a way that maybe takes some pressure or brighten someone's day is a valuable characteristic to have. I think it's, and I'll say this in closing, I think that you really can't be funny unless you're fairly intelligent.
Yeah.
So I think you get both of them in a package.
Yeah,
That's
that
how
EQ.
that's how I answer it. And I think moreover from our standpoint in accent and closing, you know, we're a family-based business. We put a high level of trust and integrity in the things that we do. We don't win all the time. We win a lot of the time. And I think the one thing we'd want our customers to know is when you call us, we care. We understand that you don't know exactly how things work, and that's our job to make that correction for you. And when you call us, we got to take good care of it. So that's kind of how we feel about things.
Absolutely. Dan Mills, Accent Comfort Services. Somebody wants to get a hold of you. What do they do?
They can call us at 704-509-1200, or they can send a service or a request in at service@accent, ACCENT, and then the letter CS.com. That's service@accentcs.com.
Very good. Dan, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thanks, gentlemen. It's been great.